What's going on, folks? Painless. Many of y'all have seen the videos, and concerning Cynthia G and her pregnancy by the nigga with tattoos, aka Robert Perkins, or Robert Perkins, aka that nigga with tattoos. And I remember, I've seen the evolution of both of these YouTubers. And it's kind of ironic. I mean, you all know my story. And I find it funny that, that Cynthia G and the things that she said about men, especially black men, that she's having a child by a man that, I don't know Robert Perkins. I've watched some of his videos. I've made some comments maybe 4 or 5 years ago to him because I thought he acted kind of feminine and moist to me, approaching certain topics, high-profile topics, especially during the Obama years where a lot of black men were getting killed by police, regardless of the circumstances. I thought his approach was very feminine and moist. And I haven't watched a lot of his material. I haven't watched any of his material since, I can't remember the last time. I know it's been over 2 years since I watched any of his material. But this just shows you that the level of, a lot of us, we speak in a tone, we get behind social media, and we want to say things and do things, but do the opposite. I'm 10 toes down. Of course, I can change with proper documentation, research, proof, and I'll change my views. But many of us are so staunch in our position that we don't do that. Here's a woman that has said everything under the sun about certain levels of black men. And it goes, with black folks, we know how to talk a good game, but we don't follow what we preach. We don't. And at the end of the day, a lot of these women are just bust downs, really. I'm just going to be honest. And I'm going to say this, I've said it in passing, little snippets in my video, but I kind of want to make a full-fledged, a full-fledged, just announcement, a PSA, if you will, that, men, if you're, Robert Perkins, I believe he's in his 30s, and I've said this before. I don't want to be in a position, there's no reason now, especially in today's society, the way the judicial system is set up against men, you don't want to be in a position where you're 35 and up, really 30 and up, paying child support to a woman in this judicial climate in America, where we have the Me Too movement, where feminism is on the rise. It's risen. No pun intended, painless risen. It's risen to, it's just crazy. Men will not win. The best thing you can do is strap up or have a cold pullout game. and me, you know, I'm in a position where I enjoy the company of a woman, but I don't need the company of a woman because women sometimes will slow you, not sometimes. Women a lot of times will slow you down and get in the way. And just because you meet her, I'm seeing a lot of guys. I'm seeing a lot of guys on YouTube meeting up with women on YouTube and getting into these cuddly, cozy, so-called pseudo relationships and high-siding and flaunting this shit on social media. And YouTube is a platform of social media. Now, I would expect this from 18, 19, 21, mid-20s and down below, but you got guys in their mid-30s doing this shit. You got guys ejaculating in these women. And let me just say this, and I've always believed this. Even I don't talk in my past videos. I've talked about masculinity in the decline of masculinity in America, in a westernized world. But women ultimately decide to have children. But men, we also must take precautions as well. But there's no reason why you should be in this position. I think it's safe to say that they won't be any type of couple, any type of, the only reason to get married, I would say now, and this is just me, like, I have marriage is nowhere in sight, especially out of my situation. I was divorced. I am divorced. Me and my ex-wife had no children. I came out unscathed. I'm doing much better now financially. I mean, I wasn't hurting financially before, but I'm doing very well now financially. But there's really no reason to get married other than having children in today's judicial, political, socio-economic climate in North America, aka the United States of America. There's really no reason to get married. Now, is there issues with finding a woman that maybe you want to shack up, because we're all creatures. We all look at the opposite sex and we sometimes want to cohabitate with that. Yeah, that's fine, long as it's monetarily split 50-50, or she's contributing in some way, shape, or form, or you're contributing in some way, shape, or form. I see no qualms with that, because you can easily break away if shit goes downhill. You can get your name off the lease. Or I would never advise getting into a mortgage with really now, if you really think about it, more rents are more hard pressed to throw your ass out on the street than a mortgage. And I've been a homeowner multiple times. I've owned 3 homes in my life at 40 years old. And I've been able to sell all those homes. And usually when you have a mortgage, I've never been late on any of my mortgages, but from what I've seen, you can usually get away a little bit with a mortgage. When you're renting, and I know that sounds kind of crazy, you were like, well, shit, it would be easier if I just bought a home. Now, it's cheaper to buy a home versus renting. But when you're renting, I tell you what, some of y'all can attest to this, and I've never been late on any of my rent. I'm a pretty Dudley do-right in terms of my finances, having my shit squared away, this, that, and the third. But usually you get a grace period. So your rent's due on the 1st, and they give you to the 4th with no charge to pay that damn rent, to write that check. But I tell you what, on the 5th, when your ass come to walk inside your rented apartment, you're going to have a little slip on your door. And it's going to say, hey, we need our money like yesterday. With a mortgage, it's a little bit different. I mean, they don't usually go into foreclosure proceedings. It depends on your bank, but usually you don't see foreclosure proceedings maybe till like 6 months. You get a little leeway when you own a home. People spaz out about owning a home. I think it's because of, shit, I actually gotta cut my grass. I actually am responsible for the roof on my house. People just spaz the hell out and get scared. But really, that's why all these, this shutdown, all these government workers, unfortunately, all they showed was a lot of black folks in D.C. living. One lady said, I only got $1.06 in my bank account. And in my head, I was like, that's your damn fault. But you see all these people, I can't pay my mortgage, I'm going to lose my home. Bullshit. That's bullshit. It's utter bullshit. Unless you were already behind before. But yeah, this thing with Cynthia G and Robert Perkins, it's just, I've talked about black men, it's nothing wrong with slanging pipe, but you got to do it smart. And I just couldn't imagine ejaculating in a woman now that isn't my wife. I just, in 2019, I just can't imagine that. And that just tells me a lot about Robert Perkins. Here, you've ejaculated into a famous YouTuber in the black so-called community on YouTube. And it tells me a lot about Cynthia G. She's seen his videos. She's seen this brother smoking weed all day, doing videos. It tells me about the type of woman she is. And you can learn about people by the things that they've done with people. But I'm just going to hold on this. I'm going to make a part 2 probably, but rate, subscribe, comment. Painless is back.